My German Shepherd, Rex, has always been a good dog. Loyal, sharp, a little dramatic sometimes, but never unpredictable. We've had our routine for years: walk at 6 p.m., play fetch while I pretend I'm not winded after one throw, and crash on the couch by 10. Life was quiet, predictable, until it wasn't. It started subtly. One night, around 3 a.m., Rex woke me up with a growl, not aggressive, more like a warning. I assumed maybe a raccoon had wandered past the window or something fell in the kitchen. I told him to relax, gave him a pat, and we went back to sleep. The next night, same time, same spot. But this time, Rex didn't just growl. He howled. Have you ever heard a German Shepherd howl inside a dark, silent house? It's not cute. It's ancient, primal. He was sitting at the edge of the bed, his eyes locked on the dark hallway that leads from my bedroom to the rest of the house. His fur was standing up. He looked like he was guarding me from something only he could see. By the third night, I was convinced it wasn't a fluke. Same time, 3:04 a.m. Same behavior. That hallway. I'd walk over there, flick on the light, check every door and window. Nothing. Not even a draft. I posted about it on a dog forum. Someone jokingly said, "You've got a ghost. Better sage the place." But I didn't laugh, because Rex wasn't just spooked, he was serious. His body would stiffen, ears forward, like he was expecting an attack. And every night, it was the exact same time. So I did what any rational, exhausted, slightly freaked out person would do. I bought a hidden camera. Amazon, next day delivery. I got one of those discreet night vision cams that plugs into an outlet. I set it up on a bookshelf in the hallway, angled just right to catch anything between my room and the guest room. It had motion detection and audio. I didn't tell anyone. I wasn't ready for paranormal Reddit levels of judgment, and honestly, part of me was still hoping it was just a weird phase. That night, I went to bed at 11 p.m. with Rex curled up beside me. He seemed restless. Around 2:30, he got up and paced once, then lay back down. I kept one eye open, heart pounding like I was waiting for a jump scare. At 3:04 a.m., like clockwork, Rex shot up. This time, he didn't just howl, he barked, loud and angry. He bolted off the bed and ran toward the hallway, claws skidding on the hardwood floor. I scrambled after him. Lights on. No one there. But Rex was barking straight at the guest room door. Hackles up. Teeth out. Whatever he saw. I couldn't. But I had the footage now. And I had no idea what I was about to discover. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Rex finally settled down around 4 a.m., but I just lay in bed, eyes wide, staring at the ceiling fan, replaying the hallway scene over and over in my mind. The silence was almost worse than the barking, like the house had swallowed its secret and dared me to go looking. At 7 a.m., I brewed a pot of strong coffee and grabbed my laptop. Rex followed me into the living room and flopped down with a sigh, like he had been the one losing sleep. I reached over and gave him a few absent-minded scratches behind the ears. He didn't look scared. He looked proud. I plugged in the memory card and opened the footage. 2:30 a.m., hallway dark, nothing moving. A faint humming from the fridge in the kitchen. Normal. 2:45 a.m., Rex stirs in the bedroom doorway, ears twitching. 2:59 a.m., hallway light flickers. Just once. Fast. I paused, rewound, played it again. It was real. Not a glitch. Almost like a power surge, but isolated to that one light. 3:04 a.m., Rex appears on screen, charging into view like a missile. His body language is wild, barking, spinning, eyes trained on something near the guest room door. And that's when I saw it. A shadow. Not like from a person walking past a light. There was no one in the hallway. This thing, it didn't cast light, it absorbed it. A blurry, moving shape, like smoke underwater. It hovered near the guest room for about 3 seconds, then disappeared out of frame. No footsteps, no door sound, just, gone. I hit pause. My stomach dropped. I rewound, slowed it down to 0.25x speed. Still there. Not dust. Not a glitch. Something moved down that hallway and triggered Rex's entire alarm system. I won't lie, I felt cold. Not just scared cold, like something inside me had shifted. The logical part of my brain said, it's a weird light trick. Compression artifact. Calm down. But my gut? My gut was screaming run. And Rex? Rex had been right the whole time. I checked the rest of the footage, nothing after that. At 3:10 a.m., the hallway goes still. Rex stops barking. The light returns to normal. I didn't want to jump to ghosts. I'm not that guy. But the shadow didn't move like a person. It didn't behave like a person. No sound, no light change, just there, and then not. But that theory didn't hold up for long, because when I got up to double-check the hallway, to physically inspect the area the shadow appeared, I noticed something else. The guest room door was cracked open. I hadn't opened it in days, and the window in that room? It was unlocked. I locked every window in this house when I moved in. I remember that. So unless I was sleepwalking with a screwdriver, someone had been inside my house, and suddenly, the ghost theory didn't sound so bad. I stood in that guest room for a full 5 minutes, just staring at the cracked window like it was going to confess something. It didn't. Rex sat behind me, rigid, ears up, tail completely still. He wasn't looking at the window, though. He was staring at the wall. That weird, narrow piece of drywall between the closet and the vent near the floor. I swear I saw his nose twitch. You ever get that feeling in your spine, like you're being watched, but you're alone? That was me, right then. The morning sun was shining through the blinds, the birds were chirping, and I was still half expecting to see someone duck behind the curtain. I moved toward the vent. It was one of those cheap metal grates, painted over a dozen times by lazy landlords, but it didn't look quite like the others in the house. The screws were newer, cleaner, untouched by time. I knelt down and gave it a tug. Nothing. Then I fetched my toolbox. By toolbox, I mean a shoebox full of random Allen wrenches and that one multi-tool I got for Christmas 3 years ago. It took a few tries, but eventually, I got the vent cover off. And behind it? A gap. A rectangular space about 2 feet wide and maybe 4 feet high, running behind the closet wall. It was just big enough for someone to crawl into. I stuck my phone in, turned on the flashlight, and snapped a few pics. The photos loaded one by one. Dark. Dust. More dust. And then, wrappers. Empty energy drink cans. A crumpled hoodie. A nearly full box of Rex's treats. My stomach turned. This wasn't a ghost. This wasn't some glitch in the Matrix. Someone had been living in my walls. I dropped the phone. Rex let out a single, low growl, almost like he'd been holding it in this whole time. I reached in again, carefully, and felt something soft. Fabric. It was a backpack. I pulled it out, dust flying everywhere. Inside were 2 burner phones, a half-eaten granola bar, a set of keys to my house, and a stack of receipts, from the grocery store I go to every Sunday. Receipts dated just a few days ago. I felt the blood drain from my face. There was no paranormal entity. There was no random squatter. This was someone who knew me. Someone who knew my schedule. Who had a key. Who fed my dog treats, possibly to keep him quiet. But Rex never bought it. He saw through them. And now, so had I. I called the police immediately. They were skeptical until I showed them the crawlspace, the footage, the receipts, the treats. When they scanned the phones, one number stood out in the logs, someone I hadn't spoken to in months. Caleb. My ex-girlfriend's younger brother. The one who'd crashed on my couch, for just a few nights, last year. The one I never changed the locks after. Suddenly, everything made sense. The noises, the missing snacks, the flickering lights, the shadow that wasn't supernatural, just human and dangerous. I thought I was living alone. I wasn't. And Rex knew it all along. The police took the crawlspace discovery seriously, more seriously than I expected, honestly. I guess when you show them a backpack full of burner phones, house keys, and enough dog treats to run a small kennel, they stopped chalking it up to overactive imagination. 2 officers stayed to process the scene. A third left to put out a bolo for Caleb Morales, age 24, former couch surfer, full-time manipulator, and, apparently, part-time house troll. They didn't need to search far. He was caught on foot about a mile from my house, trying to buy a breakfast sandwich like he hadn't just been living in my walls. He didn't resist. Didn't run. Just said, "Guess he finally figured it out," and laughed. Laughed. I didn't know whether to be furious or terrified. When the cops brought me in to ID him, he barely looked at me. He had that same smug expression he always wore when he thought he was smarter than everyone else. He had the nerve to say, "I just needed a place to stay, man. You weren't using that crawlspace anyway." I stood there, stunned, while they processed him for breaking and entering, theft, unlawful surveillance. Yep, one of the phones had a microphone app installed, and violation of a restraining order I didn't even know my ex had filed against him. Apparently, I was the last to know a lot of things. Caleb had made a copy of my house key when I let him crash here last year, back when he was just going through something, and I was too nice to say no. He never gave it back. I never changed the locks. That one mistake cost me my peace of mind, my sense of safety, and a signed Peyton Manning football that, I kid you not, they found stuffed under a pile of dirty clothes in the crawlspace. I told the officers everything, showed them the footage, the photos, the receipts. When they asked how long I'd known someone was in the house, I laughed. I couldn't help it. I didn't, I said. But Rex did. He's the only one who saw it coming. The officers chuckled and gave Rex a pat on the head. One of them even said, "This dog's better than our surveillance team." Damn right he is. That night, I changed all the locks, deadbolts, too. I even got a security system, just for good measure. But the biggest security feature in the house? Has 4 legs, a tail, and apparently, a sixth sense. I let Rex up onto the couch, his favorite forbidden place, and gave him a whole grilled chicken breast. Not cut up, not seasoned, just cooked, whole, and glorious. He earned it. As he chomped away, I sat beside him, still wrapping my head around it all. I thought I was losing my mind. I thought Rex was just acting weird. But it turns out, he was doing his job, better than I ever could have asked. You'd think after someone's been caught living in your walls, your life would go back to normal once they're gone. It doesn't. Not completely. The first few nights after Caleb's arrest, I barely slept. Every creak in the floor, every groan of the pipes, every gust of wind outside made me jump. I'd lie in bed staring at the hallway, the shadows playing tricks on my eyes, half expecting to see that dark shape again. Rex, though? He finally seemed calm. Not relaxed, exactly, more like, watchful. He still slept with one ear pointed toward the hallway, like he wasn't done protecting me yet. I was so proud of him. And also, honestly, ashamed. I'd ignored him, dismissed his instincts. I even scolded him for howling, not realizing he was sounding the only real alarm in the house. He never held it against me. That's the thing about dogs, they forgive us, even when we don't deserve it. We settled into a new routine. Security cameras installed, motion lights outside, locks changed. I even went a little overboard and bought Rex one of those tactical dog harnesses with security printed on the side. He looked like a tiny K9 superhero. People laughed when we went on walks. He loved it. But then, about a week after everything happened, something strange occurred. It was 3:04 a.m., and Rex stood up. No growl, no bark, no howl, just stood, walked to the bedroom doorway. Saturday. Stared down the hallway. I felt my throat tighten. "Rex," I whispered. "What is it, boy?" He didn't respond, just sat there like a stone statue. I got up, heart pounding, and followed his gaze. The hallway was still. No flickering lights. No shadows. The guest room was sealed up tight, crawlspace boarded, padlocked, sealed with actual cement. I wasn't messing around this time. And yet, Rex wouldn't move. That's when I noticed it. A faint tapping, from inside the wall. It wasn't loud. 3 soft taps. Then silence. I froze. Rex stiffened. His ears moved like radar dishes. Another 3 taps. This time, from the opposite side of the hallway. My body went cold. Goosebumps everywhere. Every horror movie I've ever seen came crashing into my brain like a playlist from hell. I grabbed a flashlight, heart pounding, and marched into the hallway. Nothing. No sounds. No intruders. Every window locked. Every camera silent. I stood there for 10 minutes, waiting, flashlight shaking in my hand. Nothing happened. Eventually, I turned around. Rex was still sitting there, calm now. Like it had passed. Whatever it was. We went back to bed. He curled up beside me, finally resting his head on my leg. but I haven't stopped thinking about those taps. Was it the house settling? Leftover paranoia? Or had Caleb left something, or someone, behind? I don't know. But I sleep lighter now. And Rex? He never stopped watching that hallway. Every night. 3:04 a.m. What do you think Rex was hearing at 3:04 a.m.? Was it really over, or is something still hiding in the house? Drop your theories in the comments. And if your dogs ever warned you about something you ignored, I need to hear it.